Recently, I've been playing Persona 5X and I've had nothing but an amazing time with it. Persona is in my top 3 favorite series of all time, and it's surreal to be experiencing the metaverse again after all these years. I'm currently in the 40s with my level, have nearly every character, and have just unlocked this game's artifact system. Because if there's one thing a gacha game needs to pad out player time, it's an artifact system that people will spend hours and money on re-rolling for the perfect substats. As much as I hate Genshin for popularizing this mechanic and just hate Genshin in general, I don't necessarily hate this for P5X. Yet. Only time will tell how annoying the artifact system will be in this game, so we'll leave that for another video. I did want to talk about something related to these cards in P5X though. I was looking into these card sets trying to find the best one, and I stumbled across this particular set here, the Power Set. The effect of the set is fairly simple. The 2-piece bonus gives you 12% more attack, which is standard, but I wanted to talk about the 4-piece bonus here. If you have 4 pieces of power on any character, they will get a buff that increases their attack by 10% every 6 turns. This can stack up to 3 times. Now you may be asking, Rune, what's the issue? This seems like a fairly good set to me. To which you'd be right. Except you're wrong, get fucked. The problem with this card set is that Persona battles don't take that long to complete. Usually the average person that completed the 5th grade can clear most Persona battles in less than 10 actions. So while yes, you can get upwards of 10% more attack in battle, you won't be making full use of this set compared to any of the others. Yes, enemy and ally turns count for this set, but you're still waiting for it to come online compared to running something else. Why do this when you can just put Joker on the hindrance set and give him the same effect but just 5 turns faster? This is ultimately a weak snowballing set that doesn't have any use outside of bossing, which yes, it's going to be the game's main form of endgame, but this still sucks. You mean to tell me that I have to wait a total of 12 to 18 turns in order for my character to start dealing actual damage? This set in particular sucks and all, but it got me thinking. Why is it such a common thing for gacha games to add artifact sets like this? Why is there always 1 to 2 sets that just do virtually nothing in games like these? These often have their own areas to farm them, but in recent games, they sometimes force you to get pieces of these sets by putting the more important sets in the same domain. Dislight has this issue primarily, albeit less prominent. What do you mean I have to farm a resistant relic in a game where 80% of the characters inflict debuffs that can't be resisted in order to farm my crit damage relics? Oh boy, a relic set for bleed and poison units? Let's take a look. Oh, it's based on chance and not guaranteed? Thanks game, I really wanted more copies of this relic instead of the actual good ones from this boss. Real bang up job, yeah? So today, we're going to talk about the drive distance EZZ and why some of them are just downright god awful. Be sure to leave a like on the video and consider subscribing afterwards. Without further ado, let's get into it. I'm not going to spend too much time yapping about these discs. I have 4 drive disc sets that I'm going to talk about today, with each one decreasing in quality as we go further and further. I'm going to talk about why these sets suck to me and what I would do to change them. So let's start off with the least offensive one here. Puffer Electro. Wait, this is the ultimate drive disc set? Why is the 2-piece effect pen ratio and not decibel generation? Whatever. This isn't an inherently bad set. You can make the argument that some DPS characters want to use this, like Ellen and Anton? The problem with Puffer is that it's fairly unconventional and super situational. Yes, the effect is good, but with no way to rapidly gain decibels outside of certain limited copies, it's a disc set that's heavily reliant on specific phases in order for you to make the most of it. You're essentially banking on all of your damage from the set during the stun phase. This is fine, and theoretically it does work for DPS agents that want to nuke during the stun phase, but the problem is that you're waiting for the stun phase to begin for this effect. Yes, you don't necessarily have to, but why would you ult the enemy as a DPS when you're not in the stun phase? The only feasible place to do this is in Deadly Assault when you're running out of time and you have decibels to throw away. It makes sense there because you're trying to cash in as many points as possible by doing as much damage as possible, so you may as well press the ultimate button there. Okay, what about Rina? Why would you give Rina this 4-piece? Nothing about this effect or Rina's ult is worth the stamina farming this set for her specifically. My verdict on Puffer Electro is that it is definitely a usable set, but because every and all other drive discs are available for free at the start of the game, there's really no point in grinding this set compared to something like Hormone for your DPS users. Give Rina the 2-piece of the set and save your stamina. Now then, what would I do to change Puffer Electro? Easy. This can go either one of two ways. We can remove the pen ratio 2-piece bonus and create a new set specialized for pen, and then we make Puffer's new 2-piece be a 20% decibel generation buff. But this change would still make the set very time window dependent, so instead I'm going to remove the 4-piece effect and replace it with something like this. Whenever the equipper uses an EX skill, increases pen of all squad members by 10. This effect can be stacked 5 times and lasts for 10 seconds. That way, pen ratio can be considered an actual stat that's worth investing into for certain DPS agents. Oh, and by all means, these are not like fully set in stone. I'm not sure if these are good effects. I'm just saying something that's a little bit better that comes to the top of my mind. If you guys want to come up with better effects for these sets too, please let me know in the comments below. I'd be really happy to see what you guys want to come up with. Onto the next drive disc set, we have Inferno Metal. And the reason why this set sucks is because it's also dependent on a specific condition, but this time it's not decision based as opposed to Puffer. You actually cannot make use of this effect unless the enemy is burning. The only good thing about Inferno is that it gives a lot of crit rate, damn near 30% free crit rate, but the only thing holding it back is the fact that it is bound by the anomaly meter. Don't get me wrong, 28% crit rate is great, but not only is that the only thing the set gives you, but again, it's locked behind the anomaly meter. Sometimes you'll be in rotations where you're in the sun phase, but you'll either have to do a couple more basics to make sure the enemy is burning before you ult, or in the absolute worst case scenario, you ult right as the enemy is finished being on fire, losing out on all the crit rate. This set is tarnished by its limiting requirement that not even mono fire teams want to make use of it. This mainly sucks because you have to change how you play slightly just to make sure that you get the free crit rate. I guess it doesn't matter too much since it's in the same routine cleanup as Puffer, so you aren't forced to get these discs outside of your own volition. Now, the way I'd make Inferno Metal better is that I change it to crit damage instead of crit rate. That way you don't have to play around the substats trying to get the perfect ratio for Evelyn and Hodden. I'm also going to add a 5-second lingering effect on enemies after they stop burning. That way the effect is still in play even if the enemy is not on fire. Also, ZZZ seems to be allergic to giving us a 4-piece crit damage set outside of like King of the Summit or whatever, so if we're going to make any of them one, it has to be Inferno Metal. I think that it just feels right that the fire set is the crit damage set. Next up is arguably the worst drive disc set in the game, and that is Soul Rock. Listen, I don't care what skill level you are, I don't care if you're good at the game, I don't care if you're bad at the game, everybody makes mistakes and all, but I shouldn't need to tell you why getting hit in a game like this is bad, and that an artifact set that relies on you getting hit to proc its effect is downright terrible. And the crazy thing is that even if you want to get hit, the effect for this is absolutely dog shit. Damage reduction in a game with fast-paced battles like Zenless does not matter, regardless of how good you are at the video game. Most action games rarely have a way for you to increase defense, because they are action games, they are very offensive, and if they do, they are tied to a resource that you have to buy and are available in limited quantities. Most action games reward you based on how fast you can complete fights as well, so it is heavily incentivized to do your best and be fast while doing it too. And in a game where the max amount of time you'll be spending in a fight is around 3 to 5 minutes, a damage reduction set is the last thing you need to worry about putting on your characters. Oh, but what about the tower? Shut up! This is not an endgame mode. There are no cycling rewards here for you to care that much, and the rewards that are present here are super easy to get. This one game mode is not that important enough for you to justify building your characters on the worst drive disc set in the game. Not to mention, the higher and higher you climb, the more likely enemies are to just straight up one-shot you. So the effect of this set will eventually mean nothing past floor 40. Can't make use of a damage reduction set if you're fucking dead. Jesus, I actually don't know how I would make this set better. Keep the 2-piece, Ben needs it I think, but I think we could play around with interrupting here. Since a lot of moves in this game interrupt bosses, how about we add a supportive buff tied to that? So what I'm thinking is something like this. When the equipper interrupts an enemy with a heavy attack, gain 1 soul stack. Each stack of soul grants increased max defense, attack, and HP by 200. This effect can be stacked up to 3 times and lasts for 20 seconds. Repeated triggers do not stack outside of the main threshold, but reset the duration. I'm gonna keep it $150 with y'all. I was low-key just typing shit with this one, so I don't know if this is actually a good change or not, but this is certainly better than what it had before. Characters can at least make use of the added stats, especially when we get some more HP and defense scalers in the future, if they even decide to make them, that is. Now, the last drive disc set that I want to talk about isn't necessarily the worst one, but I personally hate it for its minute issues that I just cannot ignore. And I fully understand that I am in the wrong here, so you are 100% allowed to call me a scrub and criticize me for this this in the comments, but I am not a fan of Woodpecker. Now, 90% of you guys just said, what? Now I know it seems bad. But before I go into why I don't like Woodpecker, I just need you guys to confirm in the comments that this is the correct way, that's how the set works. You need to land a critical hit on any of these 3 moves: basic attack, dodge counter, and EX special, right? And once you do that for any of those moves, you gain a 9% attack increase for 6 seconds, yes? I am under the assumption that due to this sentence here, the buff duration for different skills are calculated separately. This implies that this effect can stack, right? If it can, then that means upon meeting all the requirements, you get a 27% attack increase for around 3 seconds considering the time it takes to do other skills and whether they crit or not. And if it doesn't, then this is just a mediocre attack increase. But I assume it does because they wouldn't make a 4-piece bonus have a weak effect like this. So if this is all the case, then the reason I don't like this set is justified because you can't get the full effect of this 4-piece during the most integral phase for DPS agents. The fact that you need the enemy to interact with you to get the last 9% is just very baffling to me. I am in control of my character at all times. Why do I need to rely on the enemy interacting with me to make full use of my relic set? This is the main reason why I don't like Protopunk as well, because not only does it require the enemy to interact with you, but it also costs a resource to get its buff online. The only reason why I didn't mention it here is because people are going to be in the comments talking about, oh, it's a great set, oh, run it on pin. Shut your bitch ass up. Now yes, enemies aren't sandbags and training dummies in this game, and they will eventually attack you. But again, if this set was created with DPS agents in mind, why is one of the requirements for the attack buff reliant on the enemy attacking when the best place for the DPS agents to deal damage is in the phase where the enemy isn't moving at all? It's like how Big Cylinder is virtually useless in the stun phase because it requires an enemy to get its effect going. Now I'm not saying Woodpecker is bad, there are definitely characters that can use it, but why not make one of the requirements dash attack instead of dodge counter? That's far more common and way easier to do compared to waiting for the enemy to attack within the short 6-second window of time that the other buffs are active for. Also, to be honest, I feel like the crit rate bonus from the 2-piece effect can be at least increased to maybe 10%. 12 I would want ideally, but that's pushing it. But I feel like if we round it out to like a divisible number by 5, that would be a lot better. I don't know, I just feel like 8 is just way too small for me. Also, give us drive dis UI elements, please. I don't want to make another video talking about how the UI still fucking sucks in this game. Just give us drive dis and W engine UI elements and I'll complain a little less. But yeah, do correct me if I'm wrong about Woodpecker or any of these sets at all in the comments. I'll address my mistakes in the next video if I have made any. That being said, I'm not telling you to not run Woodpecker on your DPS agents. This is just my opinion and how I choose to play my own game. If you want to run whatever disk drive sets that you want on your characters, by all means go ahead, as long as you're able to clear content. And if you're able to clear content with a disk drive set that looks like this, then by all means, more power to you. And that's the video. Drive discs are the bane of my existence right now, and the reason why I'm not in the top 0.01% of Deadly Assault clears right now. But it doesn't matter because I can still clear comfortably, and you can too. Big shout out to all of my channel members on screen here. Members not only get access to my videos a day early, but exclusive access to not only my Discord, but the private members channel there, and have a chance to get their account reviewed by yours truly. I will host my account reviews on Sundays at 7 PM alongside the content that I will stream that day, so please be sure to tune in there. And if you want to support me directly, consider buying me a coffee. It helps keep me well fed and gives me motivation to continue doing these videos. As always, I gotta get started on the next one. Catch you guys later. Bye bye.